now is to introduce our speaker, Mr. Lamina. Mr. Lamina Kadri is an agricultural development and farm management practitioner with experiences spanning more than decades. He attended University of Agriculture, Abeokuta for both his bachelor and master's degree, and he studied agricultural economics and farm management. He also attended Lagos State University, Ikorodu, which is now Lagos State University of Technology. He is a member of Nigeria Association of Agricultural Economics, and he's a practicing farmer himself, and he engaged in reading, community development activities, and poultry businesses. He's happily married with kids. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to appreciate the entire team of the Sego Global Limited for the opportunity to share my thoughts on the issues of food security, quality, and sustainability, most especially in an urbanizing society. I want to stand on existing protocols. I want to say thank you for having me, and I hope that together we can get some things from the discussions today. Yeah, I want to share my slide with your permission, Dr. Rukayat.
Go ahead and share it, sir.
I hope you can see that. Have that. Yeah, so I'll be talking about the issue of food security, quality, and sustainability in an urbanizing society. And by way of introduction, I want to say that at the turn of the millennium, in the year 2000, nation and countries came together to come up with development goals. About 8 of these goals target most of the MDGs have been attained. The first pillar of the MDG was about poverty, eradication poverty, and extreme hunger. However, by 2015, when we expect to have halved the number of poor people in the world, reality dawned on us that we are far from getting to where we intended to be. So there came these SDG goals, the Sustainable Development Goals. There were 17 of these goals. And rather than having food security, issue of food security and poverty lumped together as we had them in the MDGs, they were separated such that we have the issue of poverty as the first one and ending hunger as the second goal. Today in year 2024, the SDGs are supposed to, their goals are supposed to be attained by year 2030. By today in year 2024, it is clearly shown, it is known that the world is severely off track in attaining the objectives of the MDGs. Today, 120 million people are suffering from food insecurity compared to what they had in 2009. In Nigeria, the number of food insecure people have increased from 62 million in first quarter 2023, that's just last year, to 100 million in first quarter 2024. And that is coming from the World Food Program report. The ongoing protests across the country attest to the fact that things are not really easy when it comes to the issue of food. And you can see that the major issues have been the issue of hunger everywhere. So we want to look at the issue of what is the concept of food security, and we'll move from there. Food security is defined according to the FAO 1996, said to exist when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food, dietary needs, and food preferences for an active and healthy life. The food must be present at all times, and people must have physical and economic access to them. And the food must be sufficient, must be safe, and nutritious. The food security definition above had 4 pillars: pillars of availability, access, utilization, and stability. Availability is all about domestic production. What quantity of food are we able to produce in our community, in our state, in our country, across the world? And food stock, what quantity of food is available within the traders, for government reserves. And when it comes to import in a community, what quantity of food are we getting? And what can we bring from other communities, from other nations to stock up what we have? And when we talk about food aids, probably to support the country, we can get aid from other countries to support what we have. That's talking about availability. However, and usually when we started with this discussion of food security was about availability. But we got to know that it's beyond availability. The food could be available and people don't have access to it. So the issue of access came in. And when we talk about access, we are talking about the ability to regularly have food, sufficient quantity of food. And this could be politically affected, could be economically affected. Even socially, the issue of people, gender, and the age, all these are things that affect accessibility. Then the purchasing power of the people too also have a lot to do with issue of access. Then we talk about utilization. What knowledge do we have about how to use the food, proper preparation of the food? And when we talk about stability, we're just looking at the consistency of all these other three forms, such that there will be no destruction in availability, no destruction in access, and no destruction in utilization. Another key issue when it comes to the topic is the issue of food quality. What this is talking about the characteristics of that particular food to meet the demand or expectations of consumers. We had serious issue when it comes to the issue of food safety, food taste, convenience, and health. We are all aware of the use of heavy metals, we are aware of the use of heavy chemicals in storage and preservation of food. You go to the market, you see your beans without weevils, without insects. These are signs that these beans have been stored with heavy chemicals, fucosins, and these are chemicals that are supposed to be consumed easily. It's also been established that over 30% contamination rate with heavy metals in living vegetables. That's why you see your vegetables looking very fresh. Some of them are not just coming off fresh, but because of the presence of heavy metals in their preservations and in their storage process. We also have the issue of aflatoxin in maize. So all these issues have to do with the safety of food. And the former minister, presently Dr. talked about food safety. Now, food safety is a function of life. It's a function of life and death. Therefore, we need to take the issue of food safety very, very serious. We need to do more when it comes to proper handling of food and storage. Today, issue of control and temperature control and cross contamination is a critical issue in food quality that we need to take very, very serious. Issue of safe food preparation, use of safe water and ingredients. We have all seen video of people who are selling fruit, washing fruit in drains, in gutters. We have seen people using cabbage for ripening of fruits. All these are things that are not ideal. So the issue of food quality is a very important one. While we talk about availability, the issue of safety also very important when it comes to food. The other aspect of the issue of quality is about the health issue, the convenience in getting this food, and the preference of individual also. Now, the issue of sustainability. This is a critical one. I said earlier that the issue of stability when it comes to food security, the food must be available all year round. But when it comes to the issue of sustainability, we're looking at what we are using today. our ability to use those resources today without jeopardizing the interest of to use these things. So it also have two pillars. The pillar of environment, the pillar of economics, and the pillar of social. All this affects sustainability. How do we ensure that we balance the issue of the environment, the economy, and the social aspect, such that we produce for today, we meet our demand for today without jeopardizing the interest of the future generations to also have access to the facilities. Now, this would have been easier if we are talking about the entire country, but when we're talking about the urban areas, it's another ball game entirely. Because in the urban areas, the increasing number of people in the urban areas is increasing daily due to issue of natural increases, net rural to urban migration, and reclassification. Everybody is leaving the rural area to the urban areas because of the availability of infrastructure and other facilities. There's also the issue of reclassification. That's what the issue of reclassification. We areas we hitherto known as rural areas are now becoming urban. And this has implications for agriculture and for our food security. Now we have the issue of Nigeria today. About 35% or 53% of our population are now living in the urban areas. And this is projected to rise up to 70% by 2050. So that means we need to do a lot when it comes to the issue of food security, because our population keeps growing. People are moving from the rural areas to the urban areas. So these are now leading to issue of declining ratio of food producers to consumers. You discover that as people move to the urban areas, the issue of production is no longer there. Everybody is moving to the areas separate, and we are now moving to the urban area where we become consumers. Consumers are increasing daily, while the producers are reducing. And this is where we are having pressure when it comes to issue of food security. Now, another issue is about loss of agricultural land due to this urbanization. Unfortunately, we have little or absolutely no control on land use plan. People are just building anywhere. All lands are being converted anyhow. We don't even care about food. We don't even care about that. Everything, all we are talking about is to build house, especially in most of the urban areas. We also increase that there will be increase in demand for agricultural products. Demand is high and the supply is reduced. So you expect that the prices will continue to go up. Especially in the urban area where we have the issue of wastage. We waste a lot of food. 1/3 of what we produce. Inefficient transport, inefficient market system, inefficient processing, and lack of storage facilities. In fact, it's expected that if 20% of what we waste is available, is stored, or is available for use, most of the issues of food insecurity we're talking about will have been solved. Another thing that we are grappling with when it comes to urbanization and the issue of agriculture is the issue of climate change. We tend to look at the climate change with global hands. Today, we are in the month of August. We expect the August break to end by the next 2-3 days, by 11th of August. But you discover that even when we expect the rains to come, the rains were not there. So people cannot even plan. So the issue of climate change is very, very important, that we need to be serious and understand what the issues are. So our challenge, especially in the urban area, is how to be able to grow enough food in enough quantity and quality to meet the nutritional needs of the growing population and to conserve resources for future generations. And that is what we are talking about: sustainable food system, sustainable food security. It's going to be unless we're able to provide and conserve resources for future generations that we'll be talking about sustainability. Now, the way forward. Of course, we know that the land is not there. in the urban areas. Therefore, the little available land, we must enhance the productivity of those available land. We must enhance the availability of available land through the use of improved varieties and knowledge and technology. If we do this, the little land we have, we can increase the productivity of those land. There's no point having 100 hectares of land where you cannot even get good yield from them. So we need to enhance the productivity of this land and also improve infrastructure facilities, infrastructure, transport infrastructure, processing infrastructure, storage infrastructure, and market infrastructure. Where we need to import food from probably neighboring communities. If the infrastructure is not there, where those food are even processed there, are even produced there, bringing them, by the time you bring them to the urban system, because of their transport facilities, they become wasted. Then we need to do a lot of education and advocacy on the issue of food utilization and safety. There's a need to be done when it comes to the issue of education and advocacy on food utilization and safety. Otherwise, people are just consuming whatever, just let us get something to eat. And this is why you have issues of stunting in the young children and obesity in the adults. These things continue to come because of the issues of the kind of food we are eating. Then there must be deliberate and conscious effort at protecting agricultural land. Yes, we need houses. Yes, we need housing. Yes, we need other infrastructure, but we also need food. And it will always be better if you have our own, no matter how little, our own production. So we must be able to have something. Lagos, for example, has the special agency for protection of agricultural land. We call it agricultural land holding authority. So you don't just go to agricultural land and convert them anyhow without recourse to such agencies. Yeah. Then the other issue of the youth involvement and adoption of technology. Yes, our youth are not ready to go into the farming because the farm agriculture has its own peculiarities, it's tedious, it's this and that. But we need to still get, if you look at the average of people who are doing farming today, majority are old. So we need to encourage our youth to come in through the adoption of technology. And this is why I'm really happy with this concept of hydroponics and the issues of urban farming. People are using small and very available lands to create successes, to create massive production. And that is where we need to do more. The issue of urban farming, which is all about purposely using all available spaces to grow food and raise small animals. If you all across Lagos, I know of Alimosho, so many areas, if you go there, people's backyard, the frontage of their houses, you fish pond, you see backyard farming, you see goat rearing, you see all these animals are being reared in Lagos. Even though people say that, but we are saying that the available space we have, we can make use of it. And fortunately, issues like hydroponics and vertical agriculture, like what you have on screen, people are using all available spaces to plant, to generate, to create food for the populace. In summary, this is the time to act now. All of us, everybody must be involved. Like former President Olusegun just said, food security is a collective responsibility. All hands must be on deck. All of us must be involved. All of us must get, put our gloves on and do whatever little you can to ensure that we make food available for the populace. There's no how. The ongoing protests across the country is primarily about food. How the food will not be expensive. We have challenges across the nation, issue of security, but even with that, in these urban areas where we don't have such challenges, so that's my contribution to the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Lemina, for this effective session more about how we can get more sustainability in hydroponic. And